you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
Make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Schultz. Do I have a second? Second by Ms. Swant. All those in favor by show of hands. So moved. Citizens participation, 3A.
Thank you, Mr. President. We had no request for participation for this meeting,
4A, written communication.
and we had no written communications either.
5A, military not present this evening. District announcements. Dr.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. First, would like to welcome Elizabeth Washington, our new special ed director. So she is here with us this evening. So, Elizabeth, we'll get you on camera there or something like that. So, but she's had a great start and looking forward to some great things and been a great member of the team already. All students entering the 8th grade and their senior year of high school need to have the meningococcal vaccine. Got that one right this time, meningococcal vaccine. This is a new state of Missouri requirement, and please get those taken care of before we start the school year. This fall, we'll move to the new SunGuard student system. It will offer the same benefits as Power School and a few more options as well. Parent training will be set after the start of the school year. As a reminder, most of our smaller schools continue to be closed during July and will reopen on August 1st. Football scholarships are available $500. Anybody wants to go? Football sponsorships are available for $500 though, and for more information, call 573-842-2040. All middle school and high school athletes need physicals, and both Mercy Clinic and Waynesville Medical Plaza will be offering them for free. We have information posted on the web. Convocation for all district employees will kick off on Tuesday, August the 16th. This is our staff kickoff for the new year. I stated the next 3 items last month, but they bear repeating. New students to the Waynesville R-VI School District will need to enroll for the 16-17 school year. Enrollment for students grade 9 through 12 will be July 27th, 28th, and 29th. Enrollment for students in elementary, 6th grade, and middle school, they should register on August 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and if you were a student last year, you are automatically re-enrolled. The first day of school for the 16-17 school year will be Wednesday, August the 17th. It will not be a late start Wednesday, as it is the first day of school. The district will host the new family welcomes on July 26th, August 1st, and August 11th. And that's all I have.
Thank you very much, Dr. Henry. Item 6A, bid recommendations. Dr. Berger.
Yeah, pretty straightforward. Be glad to field any questions. As the board observed, we're buying a bunch of buses, or at least probably not as much as what Carl would like, but we are getting caught up on our bus rotation.
Okay. Any questions on bids? Item 6B, financials.
Thank you, Mr. President. July 10th, 2016, in the MOSIP account, $39,004,344.70. CDs with the Bank of Crocker, $10.5 million. General account, $5,798,424.89. Payroll account, $832,780.79. Insurance account, $553,941.56. Total funds for July 10th, 2016, $56,689,491.94.
Questions on financials? Item 6C, study session minutes for June the 20th. 6D, regular Board of Education meetings for June the 20th. Closed session for June the 20th. And item F, special closed session for June the 23rd. We'll approve those meetings as they stand. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Motion by Mr. Anderson, second. Mr. Quinn. All those in favor by show of hands. So moved. Item 7A, Skills USA, Dr. Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. At a previous board meeting, we recognized students from the Waynesville Career Center who had placed at the state level Skills USA competition and who had qualified for nationals. And this is a competition that allows career and technical education students to showcase their skills in various areas. The nationals were held at the end of June in Louisville, Kentucky, and tonight we're going to recognize Kaylani Ferguson. She earned a gold medal in graphics imaging sublimation at the national competition, and her teacher, Mr. Schaffner, is here as well. Congratulations, Kaylani.
Something off about Mary Ann tonight.
I think it's the hair color.
Very good. Item 8A, 2016 Summer School Report, Dr. Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. In your board documents, you have a summary of our summer school program. This year, we started the program with 2,800 students enrolled and finished with 2,533 students completing the program. This was a drop-off of 271 students throughout the summer from those initial enrollments until the end, which was actually less compared to the 365 we had last summer. So we actually started with fewer students, but ended up with more. So this summer, students received 120 hours of instruction. Transportation was provided. At the elementary and middle school level, in addition to core content, they also used STEM activities and problem and project-based learning. And at the high school, students could earn credit for American government, investigations in science, personal finance. There were PE classes, health classes. Electives included driver's ed, Tiger leadership camp, and photography. And then we also had credit recovery options for students in need of additional credits. So we will use the planning that we did for this summer to continue for next summer to continue seeing those increases in enrollment.
Any questions? Item 8B, 2016 Discipline Report, Dr. Atkins.
Thank you again, Mr. President. We have the 2015-2016 Discipline Report. We are happy to be able to report that our number of discipline incidents decreased by 998 from the 2014-15 school year to the 2015-16 school year. And we have seen a downward trend over the past 4 years. This is in part to the different measures that our buildings have been putting in place so that they're putting positive things in place, establishing those routines and procedures, so that they're doing the work on the front side so that they have less in terms of discipline incidents on the back side. And as you can see at our individual buildings, at the high school, there were 617 fewer incidents during the 15-16 school year. The middle school went down by 518. When we look at the elementary schools combined, there were 1,644 discipline incidents. It was an increase of 137 over the previous year. Freedom and Partridge did experience decreases. Thayer, Wood, and 6th Grade Center had slight increases, and East also experienced increases throughout the year. At the high school, when we look at the types of incidents that there were, we saw decreases in incidences of assault, bullying, bus issues, electronic devices, use of foul language, ID card infractions, dress code violations, and truancy. This past year, the high school spent time reviewing and refining their discipline system. They implemented a privilege card system, which has helped to reduce the numbers throughout. And additionally, at the end of the year, they put tardy sweeps in place because they realized that tardies continue to be an area where they have a lot of discipline referrals. And so they saw some reductions at the end of the year, so they will start those early in the year next year. When we look at discipline incidents by race, we saw all groups had a decline in the number of discipline incidents except for our American Indian and Native Alaskan group. That is such a tiny group that any little change can go up or down pretty easily. When we look at the total days of suspension, there's two different charts here. The one at the bottom shows the times that the type of consequence was assigned. So in the 15-16 school year, the number of in-school suspensions decreased, meaning the school assigned in-school suspension 245 times during the year. Assigned out-of-school suspensions 208 times, and the high school had 0 expulsions during the school year. The chart at the top looks at the total number of days that students were suspended. There were 308 fewer days of out-of-school suspension and 282 fewer days of missed instruction due to in-school suspension. At the middle school, again, there had a decrease by 518 of the number of incidents for the year. There were reductions in bus incidents, classroom discipline problems, theft, ID card violations, insubordination, tardies, and sexual harassment. When we look at discipline incidents by race, we did see a significant decrease for African American and white students. When we look at their serious consequences, in-school suspension was assigned 314 times, which was a slight increase from the year before, but you'll notice that their number of out-of-school suspensions decreased from 219 to 139. And when you look at the total number of days, their in-school suspension days were fairly similar to the year prior, but the number of days that students were actually out of school for suspension was 193 fewer. So, and it is so important to keep them in school so they can continue learning. The middle school is using positive behavior referrals to recognize students who are doing what they're supposed to do, and they have found that to be a very positive strategy within the building to help reduce incidents. They're continuing to work together as a building to develop common expectations across classrooms so that there is consistency in the referral process, and so that when students go to class, the expectations are similar from class to class. At the elementary level, we can see the number of serious consequences. East was up in the number of in and out of school suspensions. At Freedom, we did see a decrease in the number of out of school, but that was balanced by an increase in in-school suspensions. But again, having them there in-school suspension is better than them being out of school during that time because they are receiving instruction while they're there. Partridge saw a decrease in school and out of school. Thayer saw small increases. Wood held steady, and then 6th grade Center had a decrease of 1 in in-school suspensions and an increase of 10 in out-of-school suspensions. These are the discipline incidents by race, and I'm going to go to the percentages. One thing that they're really tracking is making sure that our discipline referrals look similar to how our students are represented, and so that is one thing that we have been watching to see that we don't have groups that have more discipline referrals than we would expect based on their enrollment. All of our elementary buildings have continued with PBIS. Buildings will continue to review their plans and make any necessary modifications. They all have their universal expectations in place, as well as Tier 2 and 3 interventions. And those interventions are for students who just need that little bit of extra support. Are there any questions?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item 8B, oops, wrong one. 8C, report on services provided to students in transitional living situations. Dr. Atkins.
Well, thank you. July is always busy for instructional services. This year we have our presentation on students in transitional living situations. And those are students who lack a fixed, regular, or adequate nighttime residence. And this is part of the McKinney-Vento Act. And so part of that is that we need to put things in place to ensure that students don't have barriers for getting to school. One thing that we do use funds for, and we use our Title I funds to help support, is to provide clothing, coats, backpacks, and school supplies to students in need. And then we can also help with things like eyeglasses and hearing aids if needed, and then if needed, to provide transportation, because sometimes we'll have students who, based on their living situation, would have to move outside district boundaries, and we provide transportation or work with the district that they're residing in so that they have stability in their schooling. For the 2015-16 school year, we had 194 students who were identified as living in a transitional living situation, which was down from 207 the year before. Are there any questions?
Nope,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Item 9A, proposed job descriptions. This will be the second reading. Ms. Bales?
Thank you, Mr. President. The following attached job descriptions are presented for second reading. 4.08.1A, Executive Secretary Assistant Personnel Superintendent. 4.08.2, Personnel Services Specialist. 4.08.9, Administrative Secretary Operational Services. 4.09.1, Executive Secretary Special Services. 4.09.2, Administrative Secretary Personnel/Special Services. The administration requests approval of the above job descriptions as presented.
Any questions? Do I have a motion?
Make that motion.
Motion by Ms. Swant. Do I have a second? Second, Mr. Schultz. All those in favor by a show of hands? So moved. Item 9B, high school textbook adoption. Ms. Atkins. Dr. Atkins.
Thank you, Mr. President. Tonight we are requesting the approval of the adoption of a textbook for the AP Environmental Science class. The AP curriculum has changed some, and so their textbook needs have changed in relation to that. And so they're looking at the Environmental Science for AP 2E edition. It will include textbooks for each student as well as teacher resources and an assessment suite. The previous textbook, the one that they have in place right now, they did not have textbooks for each student, so this adoption will also allow for that. And the cost of that is $82.70.
Okay. Any questions?
I have a question. These are hardback books, yes?
Yes.
Have we ever considered going to ebooks of any sort so that students can see those online?
And we do, and those, they do get access to those as well, but some students may not have internet access at home and things like that. So when we do our adoptions, we generally try to do something that has a hardback as well as then an electronic edition.
Does this adoption have the ebook?
I believe it
possibility?
does, but I can double check and get that information for you.
Any other questions? Do I have a motion to approve? Motion by Mr. Anderson. Do I have a second? Second by Ms. Swant. All those in favor by a show of hands? So moved. Item 9C, Transportation Facilities Improvement Phase 1. Dr. Berger.
Thank you, Dr. Fulmer. Some time ago, when we did the facilities plan district-wide, certainly warranted the transportation facility surface as a priority. Tonight, asking for asking for approval for Phase 1 of transportation facility. The entire project, the entire master plan will encompass 2 phases, but this first phase will set all the site work and actually has some improvements to East Elementary parking as well. So with that, a recommendation has been made to accept the bid from Bales Construction in the base amount of $988,000.
Do I have a motion to approve the Phase 1 bid for the transportation facilities? Motion by Mr. O'Reilly, second by Mr. Anderson. All those in favor by show of hands? So moved. Item 9D, revised and proposed job description. Ms. Bales.
Thank you, Mr. President. Attached is the revised job description for the Director of Community Resources and Alternative Education. The job description has been revised to reflect the new job title as well as the new combined duties for this position. The administration requests approval of the revised job description with the first reading being waived. 2.20.1, Director of Community Resources and Alternative Education. In addition, the following attached proposed job descriptions are presented for your review. The administration again requests approval of the proposed job descriptions with the first reading being waived. 3.07.1 After-School Program Site Administrator, 3.07.2 After-School Program Site Teacher.
Any questions? It's necessary for us to revise these this evening because we had a late resignation. We've got a new hire that needs to have a contract and get them working. So do I have a motion to approve the job descriptions as presented?
I'd like to make that motion.
Motion by Ms. Swant. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Anderson. All those in favor by show of hands? So moved. Item 9E, LJ Hart and Company refinance agreement. Dr. Berger.
Yeah, we're very excited and pleased to bring this type of information to the board, but basically take advantage of current rates, which are much lower when we started the 13 lease certificates. So with that, as presented in study session, the administration requests approval of Schedule 5 of the Series 13 lease certificates. The funding of the 13 certificates will provide a net interest savings in excess of $1.1 million.
Any questions? We had a pretty lengthy discussion in regard to the LJ Hart reports in the study session already. Do I have a motion? Motion by Mr. Anderson. Do I have a second?
A second.
Second by Ms. Swant. All those in favor by a show of hands? So moved. Item 9F, Special Education Assurance Statement. Ms. Washington.
Good evening. LEAs are required to have a board approval local compliance plan for special education, which aligns with the current Missouri State Plan for Special Education. Whenever revisions and updates are made to the Missouri State Plan, LEAs must then revise their local compliance plan. The Missouri State Plan was updated in 2015 and 2016. The updates to the Missouri State Plan for Special Education have been approved by the State Board of Education and the Joint Committee on Administrative Rules, JCAR. The Missouri State Plan is now published in the Code of Regulations and is expected to become final by the end of July. Administration is requesting approval of the Special Education Assurance Statement as presented.
Any questions? Do I have a motion?
Make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Schultz. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Quinn. All's in favor by show of hands? So moved. Welcome
you.
aboard.
Thank you very much.
Item 10, closed session. There is a need for closed session as allowed by RSMO 610.021, Section 1, Legal, Section 2, Real Estate, Section 3, Hiring, Firing, and Disciplining or Promoting of Employees, and Section 13, Individual Personnel Records and Performance Ratings. Do I have a motion to go into closed session?
Make the motion.
Motion by Mr. Quinn, second by Mr. O'Reilly. Roll call vote. Mr. Quinn?
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes. So moved. We'll move into executive session.